The internet likes to call the GFX100RF that I'm shooting the intro with an X100 on steroids. I disagree, and by the end of this video you should know why. As this is a camera autofocus lens combo, should have put that in the middle of that. It's cold. We're going to jump out of the frame so we can test the autofocus, AFC, face tracking. We're on the first of the autofocus continuouses. And did I say focus breathing? Anyway, let's jump out of the frame because this is not really designed for this kind of thing, but I like to see what we can do, you know, squeeze the absolute juice out of it. Hence this being quite a random video. Right, we're going to look at this mini beast up close in the studio. There are a few tricks and treats with this one. Not sure if I'm going to fall in love with them all, but yeah, we'll talk about that and then we'll hand it over to you at the end. Let's crack on. Okie dokie, that is the full setup. Silver model, aluminium construction, nice top plates. I'm glad to see this dial. I really do like it. I feel like I've lost touch with it, but very, very good use of space. Let's get that back in there. Nice and solid. Switches, they're fine. You'll notice aspect ratio dial here. Absolutely fine. On the back we have business as usual, nice big LCD with all the usual setup inside. Of course, we've got maximum video of 4K DCI 10-bit 422 internal recording or ProRes HQ to SSD. Like the layout of the buttons here, that's not too bad. These all feel nice, lovely knurling. Sorry about the shine. That screen is the classic pop out, no flippy up or anything. Of course, no IBIS, just digital image stabilization, so not necessarily set up particularly for video shooters. It's not really all about that, but it does have an ND filter, four-stop ND filter built in, which I'm very happy about. If we have a quick look, well, I've covered it all up now, but at the lens, we have a 28mm equivalent lens, so it's fixed, of course. All this gubbins here is so you can use that hood and have it sealed in. Just like that, I believe it's 735 grams. Yeah, we've got a nice leaf shutter, by the way. These buttons are quite nice, although I've already noticed you got those bit protruding there, which are solid enough, and you really need them because the aperture ring is quite close to the body, quite tight. Yeah. Back to that lens, of course. We've got the f4 to f22, 10 elements in 8 groups, so we'll see how we fare. Not the fastest of lenses, and the fact that there's no IBIS is a bit disappointing, but first impressions, it's a solid build. It's a really nice feeling bit of kit, and it doesn't feel that chunky, to be honest. IO ports there, twin card slots there, 235 battery well in there. There, the usual business around and about, and of course inside there's a 102 megapixel CMOS 2 sensor, an X processor 5, which should give us some fairly decent performance Fujifilm wise for autofocus, face tracking, subject detection, although this camera is kind of about slowing down. But technology being the way it is, there's a lot more you can do, surely. Anyway, yeah, that's my little unboxing look. Let's get this thing set back up again. Give the lens a little precursory wipe. What was it now? I think it was these bits here, jab into there, and then you can this is a bit better than how I did it before. The protector that came with it, which I need a protector for the protector, and the big fat hood. There is a little pointer to tell you where to turn it. That's nice, that's all right. This, I don't know about how I feel about that plasticky piece there. It's a bit plasticky, but hey, there you go. Of course, we've got the cooler. Can't get it on now. What a video. Anyway, I'm not sure I'm convinced by this piece, but you probably won't need it that often, to be honest. There you go, you got to slide it in. We'll get used to it. It's not all black as I prefer, but it is, I suppose, the cool, the real, the Fujifilm look. Yeah, we need to get out and have some fun with it. Almost 1,000 test shots later, in heavy rain, freezing cold, warm indoors, varying lighting. How do I feel about this rather interesting camera? Well, the leaf shutter is simply beautiful. It's quiet. It helps combat the lack of IBIS a little bit. It also helps for flash photography as it goes up to 1/4000. And yeah, I just love that one of my ideal camera features is also in here, and that's an inbuilt ND. Now, autofocus in movie mode, not quite up to 2026 Fujifilm levels. I filmed the intro to this video and the final studio part of my XE5 hand grip video with this camera, and it struggled with my face a few times, even though neither the lighting nor my position changed. So it's not for anything but basic video clips, at least on the go when it comes to using autofocus. A quick note to say that while I miss IBIS, the DIS actually did a pretty good job when I decided to attempt handheld video clips. Possibly the best performance I've seen from Fujifilm digital stabilization. So all is not lost on that front. It's definitely a hands-on experience. Do you know what I mean? The physical dials, in general, the button placement all works fine for me. The dual card slots, the solid feel of the camera, very much and happily what we expect from Fujifilm. I'm not convinced by the focus stick. It just doesn't feel that nice to use. I don't completely like the crop lever either. It needs the option to disable it or change the function so maybe they can fix that in firmware. Also, reviewing files is slow and chunky, but the rest of the camera pretty much feels top rate when it comes to build and handling. Importantly, image quality wise, I love the colors, the dynamic range, there's no major flaws to worry about. I love the feel of the photographs. It's that Fujifilm magic that a lot of us fell for many years ago, and the raw files are a pleasure to work with. You obviously need a decent computer to deal with them. The lens isn't perfect though, but unless you're a pixel peeper, you're going to be happy. It is worth noting that I didn't crop any of the test shots you're seeing, and I shot in RAW so I could get the full flavor of the sensor. If you've shot medium format film cameras, then that'll help you to appreciate this camera a bit better, because it's not the X100RF with a 102 megapixel sensor. Now, a long time ago, my main camera for wedding photography, it was a Mamiya medium format TLR. And if you've used a camera like that, you know it's a slow experience, but with beautiful results. And that's what I think we've got here. And yes, I'd happily use it for weddings, coupled with a faster body, because I'm older and I appreciate the practicality of a modern setup. Once you get into the right mindset, you might forget the lack of IBIS, the slow lens, and come to love almost everything about this all-in-one bit of kit. Film shooters could appreciate this more than your modern digital-only speed freak, especially those coming from something like the GA645, although that's a different focal length. The true value of the camera is personal. Either you want the most compact way to shoot raw with this amazing sensor, or you're a JPEG shooter that's going to take advantage of the JPEG only features, the film sims, the aspect ratio dial, stuff like that, you know, forsaking getting the most out of the sensor. Maybe the happiest medium is getting this as a companion to your GFX100S2. Either way, the camera was never designed to be for the mass market. If you've got the cash and it suits your style, it's a worthy collector item that shoots amazing images in the right circumstances and, of course, hands. What do you think about this camera? Let us know in the comments and I'll see you there.